Hey everyone, let's have a quick chat about what's going on in the world right now. Things are getting a little bit crazy again here in Melbourne, Australia, and I think it's a good time to touch base and talk about what's really happening now. Today I went shopping, went to Chadstone, and it's a bit disturbing to see some of the things that are going on. And I know it's probably upsetting a lot of people. There's quite a few people I've spoken to today that are feeling really downtrodden and almost losing a little bit of hope. And I want to restore that faith. We need to have hope. It's very important in these times. Now, today at the shops, the queues again, all the lines on the floor, the social distancing matters, the food courts are closed. There's lots of things to put people off going shopping or getting out and being around loved ones. Walking down the street or through the shopping centre, people won't look at each other anymore. Going into a few of the shops, they force to put hand sanitizer on. For me, these things shouldn't be getting forced. So for me, I boycotted every store that asked me to do that. And my reason for that is I get to make my choices in my life about how I choose to live. And while they're saying there is this virus that's out there, the figures don't add up. 0.002% of people are dying from this virus, and that to me is like a common flu. And with the flus that have happened in the past, I've never had to do these things to walk into stores. I've never had to sign over my name, give my details everywhere I go for dinner or for lunch. This isn't a good way to work with people. This is causing psychological damage for a lot of people. I'm really worried about kids. I've got 3 kids of my own, and I'm worried about the effect this is going to have on them moving forwards. Now, it's quite obvious to people who are awake that this is all about control. And this is about the government trying to take over and change the way that we live our lives. The spacing, to get people so they're not loving each other. There was a message from our Chief Medical Officer's deputy, I think it was, yesterday, saying people shouldn't be hugging and kissing each other. To be honest, in times like this is where you should be spreading more love than ever before. So hugging and kissing is essential. I would say it's an essential service, and I would say to everyone out there, hug and kiss your loved ones more than ever before. You know what? It doesn't matter, this virus that's out there, what's happening in the world, it can't be beyond love and kindness. And our vibrations can beat these things too. So I say to those people saying to socially distance from each other and not hug and kiss, not going to happen. Like, fuck you. It isn't going to happen. My family is more important than that. And my friends are too. And I was thinking, why not go down to Chadstone, draw some arrows on the floor to the middle of the food court and stand there and set up a hugging booth. And I'll just hug everyone that comes past. Like, if you guys are up for that, I'd be there all day, just standing there. They can't say I'm breaking any laws. I'd just be standing there waiting for people to come past and give them a huge hug. Because in times like this, we should be closer than ever before. And they're pulling us apart bit by bit. Now, the other thing that's happening is the cashless society. So cashless societies can't work because it's giving all the control to the government. And we can't have it that way. Imagine if you didn't have a dollar that you could pull out of an ATM or take anywhere that you needed to, and they decided that you were incongruent with what they needed or what they wanted you to do, or a dissident, and they just cut off all your money. We can't allow that much power to be going to our governments. It can't happen. That's not right either. And as for the amount of people getting sick in Melbourne at the moment, you need to have a look at that deeply. Now, if you look at the suburbs where people are getting sick, Keilor, Sunshine West, Parkdale, all the areas where people are getting sick is where 5G was turned on at the start of May. Now, if you can't see there's a link there, then you're not awake. You're not awake, and maybe you never will wake up to it. People are getting sick, and when our immune systems are challenged, any virus is going to take hold stronger than before. But the fact is, worldwide, these tests that they're putting out, they're not accurate. People are getting tested positive when they're not positive. Look at the guy in Queensland and how quickly people forget that he tested it was a false negative or false positive or whatever you want to call it. He wasn't sick with COVID, he just died. And people will die, and it's unfortunate, but the flu kills people. The flu kills people every year. And You got to realize that there's something not quite right. They're hiding something here right in front of us, and they'll hide it in plain sight. And we need to wake up and realize that we have the power to say, as a small business, I'm not going to close down for a virus that's killing 0.002 of the percentage of people. And if you're going to start forcing this, we need to stand up together. And I call on all of you guys to stand up together and say, something's not quite right here. Number one, you're not testing the 5G networks properly while you're rolling them out. If people are immune, their immune systems aren't working, people are getting sick, turn the fucking 5G network off. Turn it off. I don't want that shit running untested around me while people are getting sick. So turn the shit off now. Now, the second thing I would say to people is, when you go to the shopping centers, be around each other. Hold your loved ones' hands. Walk near each other. Don't be ridiculous with this thing. If somehow people start getting sick and 0.002 of the percentage of people are passing away, it's the common flu. And it's okay. It's never stopped us from living our lives before. So why are all these businesses shutting down? Why are we locking down suburbs? It's the Hunger Games. We're literally saying, don't go into this suburb. If someone walks past, ask them, where are you from? Are you from Kiel or are you from Craigieburn? Because if you are, we're going to turn against you. That's like Nazi Germany, where people dobbed each other in and were rewarded for dobbing each other in. And the police were saying, I'm doing this for your own good. That's not right, people. And we can rise up against this with love and affection and care. Each and every one of you has the power to do that, because each and every one of you can critically think, and each and every one of you can make the decisions to say, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going back into lockdown. I'm not shutting down my business. I'm not going to wear a mask that makes it so I'm oxygen depleted, so that if I do get the common flu, it ends up being 500 times worse than what it should be. Every single one of you can make these decisions. Start thinking for yourselves again. Let's look at each other, have these conversations with people and say, do you think there's something a little bit fishy here? Because we've all been in lockdown and yet people are starting to get sick. Now, they can't talk about this Black Lives Matter thing being why people are getting sick either, because we did our own 5G protests with over 3,000 people and no one got sick with COVID-19 from that. None. The curve was flattened during that time. 2 weeks later, still no one was sick. And then suddenly this Black Lives Matter protest seems to be timed perfectly for when the 5G towers get turned on and people are starting to get sick again. So you need to think about this and look at it and go, what's not right here? Something's not adding up. You need to think. And I believe all of you guys can do that. You've been on this journey with us the whole way. So keep thinking, be strong and be loving and be kind and say to people, I don't think we should be going into a lockdown this time around, and don't ask to be locked down. That's ridiculous. You actually have the choice to say, I think right now the best thing for myself and my family and all my loved ones is to be going to work, living my day as I always would, get in my car, go to work, go home, go for a walk with my family and my dogs and my animals and whatever else, and come home and be happy and have dinner together and hug and be joyous and keep moving forwards, because truly there's nothing worse for our immunity and for our lives than being segregated, wearing masks, going to the shops and feeling miserable because people are standing in queues to go in. Like, it's ridiculous. Today I was waiting outside a shop in a queue. When I got inside the shop, it was a free-for-all. People were everywhere, touching everything. So how can you say you have to stand outside and be segregated, and then when they get inside, they can be all over each other? Then you go into the grocery store, and people are literally touching every mandarin and apple. Every single one of them is being touched. There's not someone standing there wiping them down. Although we do have groups of up to 10 people walking along cleaning poles around the tram and train stops. How can people sit there and think this is normal? I'm just going to keep doing this. Look at each other and see what's going on. You should be laughing and saying, this narrative is actually ridiculous. And the hospitals are not full. They're not full. But we know for a fact that people are getting all the resus things, all the ventilators getting bought up across the state. I know this for a fact. I've heard it from people in the hospitals. Why are they buying them up? If there's no sickness going around, how did they preempt that this was going to be a secondary wave? based on models that were incorrect around the world. It's time to wake up, guys. It's time to wake up. And it's time to say, we want this 5G network stopped, while you're telling, if you're going to tell us we're getting sick from a coronavirus, you need to shut down this network that can potentially fuck with our bodies with these millimeter waves that aren't tested. Turn it off today, because we don't want to mess with our immune systems any further. If there is a virus out there which you're trying to tell us, turn it off. You're going to take all the measures to make us walk and go in separate queues and wait outside the stores, but you're going to turn on this untested technology and fry us while we're at our most vulnerable? Turn it off. If the narrative is true, you would be turning that off everywhere. And we're not going to stop fighting that, because you're running us into the ground, and we don't want that anymore. Okay? Now, get out there, love each other, spread peace, spread kindness, and, be yourself. Don't be something that they want you to be. Don't be robotic. Don't be in a mask. Don't be hiding from the world. The worst thing in a mask is you can't see anyone smile anymore. Imagine a world without laughter and smiles. That's what we're heading towards right now. And it doesn't have to be that way, because you can stand up right now. Okay? I love you all. Peace and love. Ciao.